Hello, everyone. This is Felice, your favorite person to get honest with you about all things work related. So, today I want to get honest with you about some things to do and not do in the face of a layoff. So, you guys have heard it just like I have. I mean, the stories of companies laying people off is just all over the news right now. So, I want to just give you some tips for protecting yourself and preserving your best interests in the face of a layoff. Because remember, at the end of the day, you want to set yourself up and position yourself so that you have the most and the best options available to you. Okay, so number one, stop, think, plan, strategize, right? Do not have a knee jerk reaction to notice of a layoff. Okay. I know that being laid off sucks, especially if you really like the job, or maybe you just got started, or maybe you have certain obligations. I mean, for some folks, they were waiting for a layoff notice, right? They don't, yeah, it doesn't really bother them all that much. But for most people, being laid off is something that you don't like. So you want to now start making decisions to place yourself in the best position possible, because who knows, maybe there's some sort of severance deal you can negotiate for yourself, or maybe there's a spot somewhere else in the company that you could be considered for. So you always want to act in a way and respond in a way that puts you in the best position. Okay, so that number one is to stop, think, plan, strategize, right? And in order to do that, you need to spend some time, right? Just thinking about what's most important to you and what your needs are. And you also might want to start looking at some of the policies in the company, right? Number two, continue to show up. Continue to show up, be fully present, do your job, and do your job to the best of your ability. Again, that's to put yourself in the best position, right? Because sometimes in the face of a layoff, there's an option to have some sort of severance. Well, you don't want to start conducting yourself in such a way that perhaps your layoff turns into a termination for a cause. So you still want to show up, and you still want to do your work, and you still want to be on time and give 100%, right? So that you can put yourself in the best position. Also, if there is another position open within the company that perhaps you can be moved to, if you continue to show up and do your job, and you continue to have a positive attitude, and I know it's hard, trust me, I know it's hard. I talk to a lot of people, but if you continue to put your best foot forward, maybe there's an opportunity for you to be considered for one of those other vacant positions within the organization. Number three, please do not sabotage the work. I know that being laid off sucks. And sometimes the way that a layoff is executed is just really insensitive and callous. I get it, right? But at the end of the day, you want to make decisions, right, that put you in the best position. And if you start sabotaging the work, then you are not putting yourself in the best position to either negotiate some sort of severance for yourself, or maybe even take on another role within the organization, or maybe get a letter of recommendation. Whatever it is, if you start sabotaging the work, you might end up in a for cause termination situation. And now the company would be less willing to do something in your favor. Number four, do not vandalize the company property. Even if you are working from home, you're working remotely, you have the computer, or you have other company equipment at your house, right? Or you have a company phone. Don't start vandalizing or tearing up or just being careless with the property. Again, this goes to preserving your best interest and keeping yourself in the best position to perhaps negotiate something to aid in having a soft landing, or perhaps take on another position within the organization. Again, this is all about you. This is not about what they did, even if what they did was sloppy and messy. Okay. This is about protecting your best interests. Number five, continue to engage with your boss and your coworkers, your colleagues, and avoid inclinations or the temptation to be insubordinate, right? And what I mean by insubordinate is the boss says do A and you say I'm going to do B, or I'm not going to do it at all, right? Because again, that could change your situation from being a layoff with perhaps some severance available to now a termination for cause, right? Which can jeopardize a lot of other things, even outside of the context of talking with the company. It could cause you to be ineligible for unemployment benefits. Now, you would have to check within your own state and check with your legal counsel on that. But you want to be aware that you don't want to put yourself in a position where you have jeopardized all those things because you did not respond appropriately to a layoff. Number six, be careful about hopping on social media. So you got a notice and your boss sent you an email or a phone call or a text or something, a letter came in the mail, and now you're going to hop on social media. You're going to go on there and read everybody their rights and say a bunch of things that perhaps aren't even true. I don't know, but you're going to go on social media and put everybody on blast. Just be very careful about that, because again, you want to put yourself in the best position, right, to either negotiate some sort of deal for yourself on the way out, or perhaps take on another role within the organization. Furthermore, if other employers see you bashing your current employer or former employer, that's also not a good look, right? So again, this is about placing yourself in the best position. You don't want to jeopardize potential prospective job opportunities. You don't want to jeopardize your ability to negotiate some sort of soft landing for yourself. And you don't want to jeopardize any opportunities there may be to take on another role within that organization. And I'll just say, I know that there's a lot of buzz on social media and just in news media generally about someone who recorded their layoff, right? They got on and they recorded the layoff. And my impression is that the company didn't know that they were being recorded, right? The person, the supervisor on the other end didn't know that they were being recorded. Folks, tune into one of my prior videos, because you need to understand the rules around recording people without their knowledge. You need to know what jurisdiction you're in. And before, I told you there are different jurisdictions, different rules, and different states, right? One party, two party, all party consent. You need to Google that before you start jumping on calls and recording people and then posting it for the whole world to see. So that's just my take on this. And hopefully it helps you, because again, I know that being laid off sucks. And if it was done messy, in a messy fashion, it's even worse. But again, this is about protecting yourself and putting yourself in the best position. And even if they don't offer you a severance, even if they are unwilling to put you in another role within the organization, you still want to walk out of there knowing that you have given 100% and you did right, right? Because you're going to go on. This is not the end of the world. You're going to go on to another place. So I hope this was helpful, and please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Will we continue to keep you informed and dialed in, and we continue to get honest about all things work related. Until next time, work it.